Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with the Week 4 predictions. Now, get a rough start to this video. Because the first match we're going to be going over is me versus Jay. And obviously, I'm top dog, came off the championship, came off a pretty dominant season. I'm starting off 3-0, but I'm going to tell y'all, like a friend, I'm getting 6-0 this game. JC's team, especially with the new addition in Scissor, JC's team just fucks mine. And we talked about this earlier today after the games. And yeah, I mean, I don't even know where to begin. Like, this is quite possibly the worst team for my team to play. There's quite literally nothing I can do to win this game, it feels like. I have a couple ideas in my mind, but, this is not looking like a pretty game for the boy. Probably for the first time in a video, this is probably me losing, and like I said, I'm going to tell you all like a friend, probably getting 2-0'd. If JC doesn't 2-0 me, or hell, even if he somehow manages to lose, he threw his brains out. Because, I mean, looking at this matchup, there is quite possibly not a whole lot I can do. So, I'm hoping that I don't get bozoed, but it's not looking too good for your boy. So yeah, I'm not gonna spend a lot of time here because this is just a terrible matchup for me. But your boy's probably losing this one, and then if I do manage to lose this, I think this will be the worst start to a season I've ever had. Season 1, I don't even count that because it wasn't a full season, but Season 2, I went 8-0, then I lost to Tanner. Last season I went 9-0, and then I lost to Chris. If I start off 3-1, man, that's going to be a rough start for me, but yeah. Hopefully I can pull out the win against JC, but it ain't looking too pretty right now, so yeah. JC definitely should get the win here, and he will be clear ahead in the division, which will not be good for me. Preston versus Noah up next. I think, let me look at the matchup here. I think this matchup is actually pretty scary for Noah, because he doesn't he's only switching to Typhlosion. Oh, actually Preston made a trade and I didn't update it. Hold up, wait a minute. I updated it on the sheet, I just didn't update it in here. He dropped. Alright, so this is Typhlosion. And Typhlosion is now Ninjask. And then he got rid of Hatterene for Sandy Cox. Okay, so let me look at the matchup. I think, like, Terra Fire Eruption just destroys. The only switch-in he has is, like, a bulky Latias, but even then, like, if he's at max health, he's not really eating it. And even then, like, he has, like, Grim, which is a pretty free switch-in. You're immune to both of Latias' dual stabs. And if he doesn't have Psyshock for whatever reason, then Blissey walls it. So, yeah, as much as I don't like Preston's team, I actually kind of like his matchup here, as stupid as it sounds. Not having Magic Bounce anymore means webs are kind of free, because his only hazard removers are Kartana and Conkeldurr. I mean, he has Rapid Spin on Torkoal, but he hasn't brought that once yet. So yeah, his only real hazard removal is Torkoal, and the webs are looking kind of free, which if webs come up, Latias is looking real good, because that Scarf Typhlosion ain't gonna be doing shit. Honestly, I would probably go with Specs this game, just so you can hit harder and just, you can have other things for the Lottie. Maybe like a bulk up, or not bulk up, but maybe like can get Calm Mind? I don't think he does. No, he doesn't. But ooh, maybe a Nasty Pot set with Draining Kiss. That seems fun. But yeah, I think Preston. I actually kind of favor his matchup here. Obviously, Noah's gonna find out a way to deal with Terrify Eruption in the Sun. How he does it, I do not know. But yeah, I'm gonna give it to Preston. I don't think it's gonna be a 2-0. I think it'll be like a 2-1. I think it'll be like another close set. But I'm definitely favoring it. It's weird because I really hate Preston's team. But now that he's made the Terra Captain's trade, this matchup is very, very scary for Noah. And for Preston, you're 0-3 right now. Getting a divisional win here means you're now tied with me in division. And obviously differential-wise, you're behind me. But, you know, if you just start winning at divisional games, you beat JC the next time. If you beat JC when you guys play and you win out the rest of your divisional games, you go 5-1, you'll probably win out division. Obviously, a lot easier said than done, but for Preston, who's starting out 0-3, you know, what's easier to deal with? 5 more games or like 10 more games? So, yeah, for Preston, this is where he can start building up some momentum. Obviously, just suffered a pretty bad loss against Wu. Should have won, got crit, but I think this is a good game for you to rebound the mental a bit. B versus Wu. So the thing is, Urshifu's probably dropping 12. He's probably 12-0 in Wu. Skarmory isn't a switch in because Close Combat probably still 2 shots. He can't bring an Iron Defense set because Wicked Blow crits through it. So yeah, this is probably a Terra Dark this game with Choice Band. Is my guess, because if you banned that thing with a Wicked Blow, Terra Dark, you are one-shotting his whole team but Wo-Chen. And then you just throw 5 things at Wo-Chen, and you win. So, this is probably another rough-ass matchup this week, but I'm going to give it the 2-0 to B. For Wu, I really don't know how you win this, but you brought Confused Ray Crobat against Tanner last season, so I'm sure you can cook something up, but it's definitely looking rough for the wussy. For B, you lost to Chris in your first divisional games week 2. Hopefully you can get a win here. You tie up with Wu, and you're only 1 game behind Chris. So for Wu, obviously you want to win this game so you can keep pace with Chris. A lot easier said than done though. Mega Beedrill's been kind of like Wu's win con, I'll say, and he's going up against a Donphan and a Registeel. And without Beedrill, like what's killing things on this team? That's definitely the rough thing. So this is a really, really rough game for Wu. Maybe rougher than my matchup against JC, honestly, but yeah, this is definitely a rough one. Chris versus Nick. Low Punny goes pretty crazy here. I mean, Centiskorch gets Flame Body, but like, do you get Flame Body? I'm pretty sure you get Flame Body, yeah. Thing is, you really bring Centiskorch when... I mean, it's not... Honestly, Centiskorch isn't that bad, but... Neutral Sacred Fire. You probably die to a Shadow Ball. I don't know. Spectre just kind of 6-0. Spectre Low Punny, just like every other game, kind of 6-0s, but this game specifically, because the things that don't want to get Shadow Ball to Low Punny kills, like Miltank, Umbreon, Goodra, they're all getting destroyed. The fact that we only have 1 item clause, only one of them motherfuckers gonna have a Chop Berry. So, yeah. God, bro, this week's gonna be boring, bro. There's gonna be a lot of 2-0s this week, bro. There's gonna be a lot of 2-0s this week. Nick played really well against me, brought some cool sets. Hopefully we can see that this week, but God, do I envy what he's about to go through this week, because this is gonna be a fucking rough one. Next up, we have Josh versus Biff. And I'll first it's weird. The teams I hate, like Preston's, I keep saying they're gonna win, and the teams I like, and Josh's, I keep thinking they're gonna lose, because like you look at this matchup, and Volcarona goes fucking insano mode here. I mean, the only thing that's stopping you is a Rotom Heat, and like you have a Rhydon, and like a Slacking if you really need to go that insano mode on it. Rotom Heat's going to be a big issue for Biff this game. Doesn't really have the best way to deal with it besides Rhydon, which means probably we see an Hidden Power Grass this game. Another thing that's kind of problematic for Biff, I'll say. I want to say the Gastro, but you have Leaf Blade and Giga Drain Terra on Volk, so probably not. Probably the Bolt. Bolt is looking pretty scary here. Outspeeds your whole team, and with Strong Jaw, it can Fire Fang the Volk at your Terra. It can crunch the Gengar and hit neutrally on Gallade. And, you can Thunder Fang the Dondozo. So, Bolton's looking a little scary, I'll say. Obviously, Rhydon can deal with it pretty well, but this might be another Eldegoss game. Whether he brings Cotton Down Eject Pack again, we'll see, but I think Rotom is going to be the big deal here. I think Biff's going to have to prioritize getting rocks up and keeping them up. Obviously, he can bring Boots, but at least if he's Boots, he's not regaining with leftovers, or he's not like a Choice Scarf with like Trick or like a Spec Set. So yeah, if I'm Biff, I get rocks up, and I just try to kill Rotom, because after Rotom's dead, Volk is looking real good. So I'll probably give it to Biff, but this is like a loose Biff, because Biff played really well week 1 against Preston. Obviously game 3, almost lost it after the situation that occurred, but his game against Tanner week 2, I felt like he should have won, but he fell a little bit short. This last week against Chase, brought him to a game 3, but it never really felt like he was in. Like, even though he won game 2, it didn't really feel like he won game 2. Obviously, game 3 got a little scary. He almost won, or scary for Chase, I'll say. He should have won. It felt like, but an Amorous Stiff, living that Stone Edge, so yeah. I like Biff. I like Biff's team in this matchup, but it's going to be a big deal to kill those electric types, because, you know, the Hidden Power Grass is going to be real scary for Rhydon, and you just got to play around it. Next match, we have Tanner versus Croc. And Tanner could bring the Snow Core here, but the issue is, like, are you really bringing Snow to a Zard Y game? You know what I mean? I think Deoxys Speed is evil this game. It outspeeds Darkrai and Naganadel, and you can just fucking OHKO them with like Superpower or Psychic or Psycho Boost. If he runs Scarf Shandy, you still outspeed it, probably. I'm assuming. So yeah. Deoxys just goes in this game. Walking Wake, if we don't see an AV on Slowking, could go kind of crazy. Because even then, like, I don't know. He might bring, like, Spadef, Togekiss, but I don't know if that's 11 hits from Wake. We'll have to see. Heliolisk is a good bring this game, I think. Because it deals with the things that Wake doesn't want to deal with, in this Togekiss and the Slowking. Yeah, this is looking rough for Tanner. I don't like his matchup here. I'm gonna give it 2-1 to Croc. I think Tanner will definitely take game off. He usually takes a game off people, but Croc, really like his matchup here. It's gonna be a matter of if he can play around the Sun better. Obviously, last week against this past weekend against Sal. Still trying to get used to it. First game with it, Garchomp was just a terrible matchup for him. So yeah, I like Crocket's cooking. Definitely in the kitchen. It's just a matter of getting that first win. Because usually once you get that first win, other ones start coming. So it's all a momentum thing. He's got to break the bad streak he's got going right now. Next up, we have Mnez versus Sal. And I think this is going to be game of the week if Mnez shows up like he should. Like almost any game. But this game has my eyes the most. I think Manectric has a pretty good matchup here. Obviously, he can always go Florges, but you can just volt out. Excuse me. He can just volt out every time into Bulu or Metagross and just kill something. Ditto is a little bit of an issue, but even then, like, I don't know, bro. Like, the Melmetal is just an issue because, like, he can Ice Punch Gliscor and Double Iron Bash literally the rest of his team except for Metagross, but he can EQ that. This might be the first time we see Terra Steel, which if we do, I'm excited. Yeah, it's gonna be a rough game for honestly both of them because Emna is like, if he Terra Steals, it becomes easier because you know just to click like Fire move on Volk or you just click Earthquake with Gliscor, but it can definitely get a little scary. As much as I like Emna's matchup, however, and I think it's still, I'd say, very minimally slightly in his favor. I think Sal has just been playing a little bit better. I'll say 1-2. I think Sal's just been playing a little bit better than Mnez has been, and I think that's what's really gonna be the deal breaker here. And obviously, I love my dog Mnez, my finals duo, my guy, my dog. But you know, when you're playing Sal and he's been popping off, it's hard to root for you, dog. It's hard to root for you. I think this is where Sal potentially takes the lead in the division. I mean, I said it in the preseason video on like who I thought division leaders would be. It was a hot take at the time, but I said Sal was probably gonna be it. And if he wins this game, he takes the early lead in the division. So for Sal, this is a big game, and I'm excited to see what happens because I think both these coaches are great. These are definitely two playoff caliber coaches. Obviously, it's gonna be a matter of. Sorry. It's going to be a matter of which Mnez we get. And depending on which Mnez we get, it's going to depend on probably who wins this game. And last game of the week, we have the Saiyan teams going head to head. Chase also made a trade. What was it? He traded Lurantis for a Lantern. Alright, so Chase just wanted the Water Absorb for the fish. Because Lurantis, what was he cooking? Yeah, Lurantis, I don't know. But Lantern, back on Chase's team. Love to see it. Used it like 2 times last season, so hopefully he used it more than just his games against Tabs, but that's a different story. But now that Chase has a way to deal with Dracovish, I guess, because he can obviously just click Outrage. Obviously, locking yourself in Outrage when you have an Amorous and an Excadrill, a little sussy, but that is a way to break through the Lantern. Obviously, he could also be Earthquake, which maybe chases Shuka, who knows. But yeah, Fluttermane is probably against like the one thing that it never wants to be up against, and that's a fucking Mega T-Tar. Because second Fluttermane hits the field, Chase sacks something, brings out brings out T-Tar, and he's pursuing that bitch to the next dimension. Yeah. The thing is, Sand is going to be up like 99.9% of this game, and I'm pretty sure it's a speed tie between Dracozolt and Dracovish, right? 75... 70, yeah, it literally comes, the game's probably going to come down to a speed tie, which is super unlucky. We might see one of them be Scarf, just so they can win the speed tie easier. I honestly don't think that's a terrible idea. Now, if they're both Scarf, it kind of negates the whole purpose of me saying that, and now it's back at neutral at a 50-50. But I would not be surprised if one of the Dracozolt or the Dracovish were Scarf this game. Obviously, Savali can be any typing. Do we bring it to this game? I don't know. Tabs does have webs over Chase, which Chase doesn't have. So instead of scarfing Dracovish, he can probably look to get webs up. Which Chase, you need to get rid of them. You got rid of Larantis, which probably won't bring it ever, if we're being honest. So that means you need to either spin with Drill, or you need defog with Savali. And that's going to be big, because the webs are going to play a big role this game in negating the speed tie between the fossils. And I think this game comes down to who keeps, obviously who keeps momentum, but I think if Chase can prevent webs, I think he's in a fine spot, because obviously Manaphy is going to be cooking that Steelix if he brings it. He could bring like a defensive Manaphy with like acid armor. Deal with Dracozolt or Dracovish. Obviously, you run the risk of Rose Raid cooking you, but you can always bring like Poison Silvally to resist its dual stabs and grass and poison, which I don't think is terrible this game, because then you also resist the Moonblast from Fluttermane. Obviously, you could just bring Haunter as well, but you know, yeah. For tabs, you probably don't even bring the Smoothstone this game, because the Sand's always going to be up. There's no point. Honestly, you can probably look to not even bring the Gigalith. Just bank on Chase's Sand always being up, which a little risky of a play, but you can definitely bank on it if you're looking to. I think Hitmontop has a pretty good matchup here, because it checks the Drill and the T-Tar. And anything that wants to switch in, you can just knock off or do random shit. And for Fluttermane, I mentioned earlier, scary matchup for it with the Mega T-Tar, but Chase doesn't want to switch it in because it's still probably taking like 25 from a Moonblast from Fluttermane. So you can consistently chip it down, but the issue obviously is once it's in, you're probably not living a pursuit, so it's definitely the scary thing. But I think if tabs, kind of like what I said in my video a couple minutes ago with the weekly recap in his Chase game against Biff, if you use your Ghost and Fluttermane to bait out T-Tar and then get in things like your Dracovish or your Hitmontop to actually kill the T-Tar, I think that can be big for you. So yeah, I think a lot of this is going to be just baiting out the threats and then dealing with them accordingly. Chase has been playing slightly better than Tabs. Obviously, Tabs has his luck issues, but even through that, I think Chase has been playing slightly better than Tabs. So, okay, my keyboard's on the thing again. So, I'm going to go with a Chase 2-1, but I think this will probably be the most competitive set of the week. Obviously, we have this game between Mnaz and Sal, which I think has the highest. I think this is like game of the caliber type thing, a game of the season type caliber game. But obviously, Mnaz games can go one way or the other. So I think just as a safe betting point, I think Tabs versus Chase is probably going to be the closest game we're going to get this week. Honestly, this top half of the league, this conference just has terrible matchups against each other. This bottom half is looking real competitive, so I'm excited to see what everyone's got cooking. But yeah, those are kind of my thoughts for the week. Hopefully I don't get fucking 12-0'd by JC. And yeah, I'm gonna get out of here, and I will see y'all in the next one.